Hello, it's Cryptolyze. I hope you are well this Sunday, 17 December 2023. We're meeting today to talk about crypto, but not only that, we're also going to talk about psychology and what it's like is important, especially in these periods as we are currently experiencing where we have an outpouring of information around airdrops, around shitcoins, around multiple performances from right to left, and we don't know where to turn. And we asks a lot of questions, and he goes, be important to talk about the notion of taking profit, as well as the notion of knowing how to hold your positions, whatever happens, and you will understand that this is what will determine whether or not you will succeed in your bull run, and that starts all right now. If you want to train and really enjoy bull running, it's simple. There is perfect, complete, free training available. It's through an educational journey that teaches you everything about blockchain, crypto, investment, technical analysis, and trading. All this for free in comments and descriptions. You have exercises, multiple choice questions, modules, videos, guides, everything to support you in your progress. I'm going to start with a little sharing that I made recently on my Twitter, in which I shared here this trade, which was a long X6 with more than 10 million in unrealized PNL. And very important, and this is what is important to understand, is that we were at one point on a shitcoin. So which is bonk, which is the equivalent of Pepe historically, in which people have made millions. The proof. But are they still going to do it? Are they still going to do it? Are they going to be able to sell the same? Would you not have sold at 10 times less, at 50 times less, 100 times less, maybe even 1,000 times less? What I mean is that it will really depend on your profile, on what you are capable of doing or not, which will determine whether you are capable of holding a position in the long term, taking the risks necessary to hold this position in the long term. Very important too. And behind balancing things with the moment when it is important to sell and the reality. Are you capable of supporting psychologically? And this is where it is important to take a little step back on our BTC in particular, where we see that we are arriving in a very important zone of resistance. I covered this part in Saturday's video, 16 December 2023. I invite you to watch it if you really want to get my take on the current state of the market. But we must understand that here we are in a very important area. And to echo that, what I'm going to ask you is to take a little step back too, and we will go back in time. We're going to go to 2019, in which we still have a setup that is a little bit identical. I activated the replay mode just to see a little bit in time and not to spoil things. Even those who know the development that is going to happen. And that is why it is important to get back to what happened. Past in this period. It was a very complicated period. We were leaving a ranging zone which was just without a name. We had a big crash here, which was really very hard, with an old landing in which many people thought we were going to go up, and we broke down, and it hurt very, very badly psychologically. And obviously we had the comeback, the acceleration with already performances which were, if we take the lowest hop here up to the highest level, which was already enormous, we were at 257, something which is really impressive already at this moment. It was complicated to ask the question whether or not we take profits in this area. Are we in an acceleration phase? Are we really going to break the ATF? Are we going to be in a retest? Are we going to have to wait for a retest? These are questions that are normal to ask yourself in these periods. And these are questions that you must ask yourself currently, and especially that at this period too, we had an image, and in any case a set. News, which showed great performances, people who had also made millions of dollars, and that if you had not also succeeded in positioning yourself in the same way, well, overall you have a feeling which is not far from the FOMO, but which is above all the fact of having missed opportunities, or even of having missed the main opportunities. I'm going to come back to this with in particular what happened with airdrops and what's happening with shitcoins. It's rather classic. We're going to discuss it again later, and it has a particular goal. It's a goal that is not conscious, but in any case manipulation, and something that can affect you greatly, but you have to take into consideration that here we are in a zone which is classic and conducive to this type of reflection there. And when we move forward a little bit in time we see that in dollar effect, we saw phases of acceleration which were relatively strong. And when we move forward, we continue to move forward. We see that all in all, it did not happen so simply. We see that we had areas of laterization, areas of uncertainty to arrive at our COVID crisis, which will arrive before our eyes in a few moments, before really having the big acceleration. But we see that already from base here, we had a bearish inflection, okay? We had something that was relatively marked. Small recovery, and there, March 2020, bang, COVID crisis, before starting to rise again. And there, a lot of people have already started to take profits, started to reposition their wallets. Many here have capitulated in this part, few have bought this part, and those who really held, overall they were entitled to really the most important part. The most important part, if we take a little step back, you will see it. It is here. It is on the rupture of the ATF, which did not happen easily. You can see it clearly, before to have really the pure and hard bull run, with the break of 40,000 and then the reacceleration. We will go up to 69,000 in two stages, obviously. First breath, second breath, and then we set off again. And that's it, is where we have to take into consideration and keep in mind that it is not simple. Psychologically, it is not simple. It is even very hard. And especially in these phases, and even more in our current cycle, we will return to the current cycle, but to our cycle. Current, where we have much more information than in 2019-2020. We are really inundated with information. We are inundated with this type of thread. We are inundated with threads saying, I did 50,000, 60,000 one lock on the last airdrop. Look at me. I did 5 last airdrops. I made almost $1 million thanks to my airdrops, did the same thing. And you say to yourself that how come I didn't manage to do it? What happened? Why did I miss this? Same, here you see bonk. You say to yourself, but why didn't I buy bonk? Why didn't I buy Pepe? Why didn't I position myself on this crypto or that crypto? It's something that you're going to feel a lot, and in which you're going to be between this notion of having missed opportunities. It's not even opportunities, because we presents you as being the only opportunities that exist and not opportunities among many others. While there is still a plurality of them, there are still opportunities everywhere we can see them, and that we just need to take a step back once again. We're just right here. I remind you, we are just in a lateralization part. We have not broken the ATF. We are not yet really in a pure and hard bull run for me. We are in a preparation phase. And you just have to accept the fact of not being on every opportunity, to concentrate on your efforts, on 5-10 cryptos, on a typology, perhaps market caps, large market caps. Why not farm airdrops? It really doesn't matter. It's just set a goal and focus on the medium you're going to choose to get there. And this is precisely where the type of investor you're going to be, and that you are. Are you an investor or are you a speculator? Are you a degenerator or are you someone who has risk control? A degen is capable of doing that, but it is also capable of adding a minus here and losing that much. Understand that these are people who will take a lot of risks to get a maximum return. These are the only ways to potentially transform 1,000 euros into 1 million. And these are people, they want to do this because they're willing to lose them. They're willing to deal with the stress. And it's the same, these are people who are ready to hold trades as long as possible. So I'm not saying that we have to hold them ad vitam aeternum, because at that moment it's the same. There are some who have held out until now. There are some who have held out until then. Okay, there are some who bought in this area and who have held out until now because they have not taken any profit at all. There are a certain number of them that we know of. So you have to know how to take your profits, and you have to know how to hold your positions. You have in the description and comments the possibility of downloading my strategy guide on investment and trading in cryptocurrency, in which there are 30 pages to know everything about how to proceed, how to benefit from this bull run. And in addition, in description and comment, you also have the possibility of having access to our newsletter, which is available and which will be available every month. The links are in comments and descriptions. And this is where the notion of temporality matters enormously. Are you a speculator or an investor? A speculator will take his profits quickly to be able to continue speculating. An investor will take his profits at the appropriate time, generally over the medium to long term, and will not necessarily seek to rebalance his portfolio continually. A speculator will want to try to be hyper-optimizable. I want to tell you, don't get into this perspective of hyper-optimization. Either you are extremely well trained and you have a lot of time at your disposal, at which point you are able to do regular rebalancing and be able to be sure of many opportunities and move forward in this way. But that's given to a minority. Focus on it. Really, above all, one on your training. If you are not yet trained because the bull run is not yet here, you feel what you are going to feel at the bull run, but imagine that it will be X100, X1000. Compared to what you feel there, we are very far from it. We have not broken the ATH when we break the ATF, and we will have had big accelerations, and we will really start to have an influx of liquidity, and that everything will explode here and there. There will be geniuses everywhere. There will be opportunities everywhere. You may have one or two opportunities, but no more. And that's actually enough. There's no need to be on everything. So take a step back now. Steel yourself now to understand exactly how to react when you're in a bull run, because that's where you really need to not miss the boat and not be psychologically impacted. Because I'm sure there are people among you who are gloomy right now, even though they have potentially made more 50, 60, 100 on their portfolio, but they feel like they missed the bull run, missed the opportunities, because there are people who post behind the communication to show that they have ensured that they have made X thousand euros. 1, we don't know if it's true. 2, even if it's true, it doesn't matter. We don't know what they lost next. And once again, it doesn't matter. That's not what's most important to you. What is most important for you is to really define a strategy on preparing for this bull run, the acceleration. When do you want to take profits? How much do you want to get out of this bull run? And stick to this strategy, okay? For each of the assets. Tell us now and write, well, I'm selling this percentage of my portfolio at such a price and so on. Anyway. When that happens, do you sell? Are you going to be hyper-optimized? No. But is it really that serious? Is it so bad to not really sell in the extreme upper candle? I want to tell you it doesn't matter. Even those who sold here, it was a good sale. Those who sold there, it was a good sale. Okay, understand that that's what's important. It's to have your strategy and to apply it. And above all, to sell when you have to sell, not to keep bags, which will then go back to the bear market, and to take your profits and leave with the amounts and the objectives that you have made. C is really important. Don't take the flower to. Gun in a bull run, because overall you will just find yourself being psychologically unstable. You will believe yourself to be a god because you will take absolutely everything, and directly. It will cause X10 perhaps on some of your lines, X2 on some of your lines, and when we have a reversal, you will eat -90 and you will not understand. You will end up with a bag almost at 10 of its initial value, and the genius will exist. Any more and you will really languish. This is the best way to learn. I agree with you about eating a wall for the first time. The important thing is that this wall is not fatal, and that you are able to get over it is the most important thing. But it's not something I wish for you, and that's why I'm explaining all this to you, and taking the time to give you all this information, so that you are prepared. And here we are in an acceleration phase. We must understand that here perhaps some people will take profits to be able to try to reload lower, and if we do not go lower, they will have to accept the fact of having taken profits too early. It's all a question of timing in relation to your ring. It's all a question of managing your risk. Once again, managing your risk depends on who you are, the type of investor you are, and the time frame you are in. It's really personal. There are no rules, strictly speaking. These are things that I explain in the information that is available on rifter.fr and on the Discord, where I try to give you the keys necessary to understand how to build your investment and trading strategy to be able to anticipate these elements and be able to position yourself correctly. We are going to take another example, which is on the contrary. Here currently we have not broken any new ATF. Okay, we can say that we can trace. But if we take an example of KS, okay, KS, which is the crypto of Kaspa, I have already explained to you my vision on it in relation to the protocol itself. I will make a video again in not long, and I explained to you at that time that personally, I thought that we were going to be in this area there, I believe. In this part there, if I don't say, a nonsense, which we were going to retrace, and in any case, if on the other hand we broke and consolidated above this top, we were going to tear it down very quickly, very hard. Well, we see that we have consolidated. We made a retracement which was not deep enough compared to these buying zones. But on the other hand, behind us, we accelerated a lot. Really very strongly, and then where are we? Well, in a profit-taking zone. Currently, Everyone who has been positioned in Caspa in this part has started to take their profit, okay? Understand that it is normal when you are here on an X10 to take part of the profit. Do you take all the profits? No. But do you take part of the profit? Of course. There are certainly people who took profits here, who took profits here, who took profits here and here. But it doesn't matter. It depends on the strategy you have. The important thing is, above all, not to be afraid, to keep your positions open. While doing this, to take profits. Always, always take profits, no matter what, relative to the size of your positions. And then, depending on risk management, it will be the proportion of profit taking that you will make. Me, I know that there are certain bags, certain investments. I have set a sum which is very high, even a performance which is very high. I know that on certain bags in which I have very strong risk control, with amounts that are relatively minimal compared to my entire portfolio, I have set myself the goal of doing an X100 before X100. I won't have risk management, that is. I might start breaking then, but I won't take profit until I don't have a X100 on this or that crypto, because these are cryptos which are intended to offer volatility to my portfolio and performance with ultra-tight risk control. And that's my conception, and which corresponds to who I am and how I construct my portfolio, how I align my portfolio as the bull run progresses. And that's important to understand who you are now, to prepare all of that now. And I've been telling you this for a long time anyway. In all cases, this speech, for those who have been here for 2 years, you know it. It's something that's classic, I keep telling you. Train us, learn us, make your strategy, write it down, display it in front of your screen. If you ever have a doubt, you look. And when you doubt, because you will doubt very, very, very regularly, even several times a day, when you are in bull run, get back to the strategy by saying, well, no, it's okay, I'm in. Why would I do anything else? Why would I change something that I defined beforehand to be able to do this? Do I have a sufficiently strong structural element to tell me that I will change? And that will be important, to define what is sufficiently factual and structural to evolve your strategy. Well, how do you guess that? So yes, listening to the channel's videos, yes, I agree with you. But above all, by learning, by investing time, by understanding what you are reading, watching, by being interested, by training yourself. And that's where you're going to become more and more efficient. And that's where you're going to be better at managing your portfolio and also more resilient to the type of news as we can see currently. And I can tell you that even with experience, we are always affected. And that, unfortunately, there is nothing we can do about it. It's psychological. We know how to recognize it. We know that we have low moments. We know that we shouldn't act in these moments and that we need to take a step back. It's experience that gives you that. And for the experience, you either have to train or live it. It's up to you to see what you want to do. Ideally, you need to do both, and that way you can be prepared for the important moments. So the moments of fear and the moments of euphoria. Don't forget, we buy fear. We sell euphoria systematically. That's the basic principle. And when we are connected to Twitter or to elements like that, in fact, to social media, we will have the euphoria part and the fear part, which will try to interfere in us and that we can't do anything about it. We can be in it conscious to take a step back in relation to that and either disconnect or say, okay, well, we're trying, and that's a mass effect. It's classic when you've bought a token. You're trying to say, buy your token too, this token. Look, I made X10. Why don't you buy it? This way, the person below will buy, will raise the price, and so on. But it's a mass effect. But it's classic. And it's something that will be multiplied during the bull run. And you must be ready. Use this preparatory period to prepare yourself and be ready for the bull run tomorrow. I hope you liked this video. If so, don't forget to leave me a like and a comment. Share, share, share. It makes me happy, and it supports the work I do every day. And we'll see you tomorrow, 7 for the daily.